Brad from RotoHeat and RookieDraftGuide.com. Welcome back to the channel. We thank you guys for stopping by and taking a watch this video. If you could do so, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, keep up to date with all this great content, and let's get this video up to 100 likes. Plus, don't forget, check out RookieDraftGuide.com. All right, this part of the video, I asked you a question because I want to hear your comments. I want to talk to you about this guy. Is Pooka Williams one of your top 10 rookie running backs in this draft class? Let me know in the comments below. Let's keep that conversation going. Williams, the 5'10", 170, 180-ish pound running back from Hahnville High School in Louisiana, has had an interesting road thus far. Coming out of high school, he was highly regarded as one of the top backs in the 2018 class. If you look at 247 Rivals, all those, he was a 4-star prospect, one of the better all-purpose backs coming out of high school at that time. Had offers from places like LSU and Memphis and Mississippi State before going ultimately to Kansas. And then when he got there, the sky was the limit. He started his career off there with 2 big seasons. He's kind of been back and forth with a little bit of controversy here and there, but he's highly productive. 161 attempts in 2018, gave him 1,125 yards, 7 touchdowns. Then he added, even on top of that, 33 receptions for 289 and 2. Sophomore season, same thing. Played 11 games, 203 attempts, a little less yards though, 1,061. Another 27 receptions for 214 yards. And obviously 2020 didn't go well, didn't go very far either. He only appeared in 4 different games, and just the production wasn't there. But what we see from this profile is a guy who, maybe a little underweight for the position. I'm sure come draft time, we're going to see him putting on solid muscle. He's working hard, getting ready for the draft process. And I expect him to be closer to the 190 range, maybe even a little higher, which is perfectly fine at his size. But what you see is you see a back who in college was used all over the place. He's flexed out and used as a receiver out of the backfield and did it well. I think, looking at his profile coming out of college, is one of the more prolific players in the area at where he's at down there in Louisiana and in Kansas. Ultimately, I mean, he's going to be one of their better running backs that we've seen come out of Kansas in a long time. I think he provides the profile of being a guy that, fantasy-wise could give us some intriguing prospects. And as we get into the pro evaluation and what our guys on the team here at RookieDraftGuide.com think, I think you'll be intrigued. I definitely think this is the name to watch. So the question at hand, you're sitting on the clock, your team is missing running back depth, you're hurting in a bad way for some bye week fill-ins, or maybe even a young guy with upside, a sleeper, if you will. Is Pooka Williams that sleeper for you? When I pose the question, is he a top 10 rookie running back, I ask that seriously because I think with the way that this draft is and with the way, with opt-outs and some of those things, we could see a few guys fall into really nice spots and kind of sneak their way into some really nice fantasy value. And I think Pooka Williams could be one of those guys. The team doesn't have him in the elite category. He's not in the top tier with guys like Najee and ETN. But when you look at, when I dug through the guys' notes, because our, peeking behind the curtain a little bit, we asked the guys to give their comments, their thoughts, and their feedback on these individuals, as well as ratings. And those ratings you can see if you sign up over on RookieDraftGuide.com. You'll see a player that is electric, that can do all the things, that isn't afraid of contact, albeit he's a smaller weight-wise running back. He's got a lot that teams are going to like, and being able to receive out of the backfield and do some of those things is something that will intrigue teams, because nowadays they're looking for that third down running back that they can flex out and do some of those things with. Think of your Chase Edmonds of the world and some of those guys that have that receiving ability, and Pooka Williams fits that category in spades. And I think, as looking through the guys' notes and their comments, I think what you're gonna see come draft time is this kid's gonna shoot up into that sleeper category because he was highly effective in college, running the ball, is not afraid of contact. He was willing to do a lot on the ground, running between tackles, trying to do some of those. The concerns that you're going to have is that when he gets hit, he goes down pretty quickly. You don't see him, break a ton of tackles. I mean, he does, and he will elude some of those first tacklers, but, at his size, he goes down pretty easy, but think about the linebackers he's going against, 220 to 240-ish, plus you got those big linemen. It makes it a little difficult for a guy like Williams, but I think we're going to see, as you get to the draft, you're going to see a guy who's put on weight and still has that electric ability on the ground and has that speed and that dynamic profile that will prove potentially enticing for a team that's looking for that type of running back, somebody they can move around and be a chess piece in the backfield. When I went through the guy's notes, nobody was negative on him. Obviously he had the domestic violence issue in 2018, but everything, all accounts seem like things are fine. So teams will obviously want to know what all that's about and try to understand that. But I think this comes as a player, when you're getting down into the around the 10 range when it comes to running back, you're starting to see some guys that may have some red flags, but they have some really interesting upside. And I think Williams is going to be at the top of that list, which is why I asked you if you thought he was one of your top 10 rookie running backs. Ultimately, I think he is somebody that you can stash on a taxi squad and could get some value long-term out of as somebody who could develop into something nice at the next level. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But remember, comment below. Go over to Discord, go over to the Facebook community, do all those things, and let's keep this conversation going about Williams and the rest of this 2021 rookie class. We thank you guys as always, and we'll talk to you soon.